Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone, wherever you are joining us from in the world. Welcome to today's class, the day 2 of Excel from beginners to intermediate. In the last class, we're introduced to Excel interface, we're introduced to some basic terminologies and features of Excel. What separates Excel from MS Word, what makes it stand out, and what makes it useful in any organization. In case you were not in the last class, recorded videos are available on YouTube at General Tech. You can go and watch it again or watch it so you can catch up with us. Okay, today is the day 2. This is what we have for today. We'll look at some basic formatting. It's formatting, not formation. Some basic formattings in Excel. We'll look at operators in Excel. We'll also look at functions. We'll also look at functions, aggregators, and other basic functions in Excel. So we'll start with basic formattings in Excel. Thereafter, dive into operators. Right, please, if you have any question, feel free to pause me at any point and ask your question. If you're lost at any point, feel free to ask. This class is organized solely because of you. If you don't comprehend or show that you're learning, then the purpose of the class is defeated. All right, thank you. We'll go straight to what we have for today. Let's open Excel. My Excel is open already. I believe we all know how to open Excel or spreadsheet. If you don't know how to do it, you search for Excel here, or you go to your applications, you see Excel here. Just click on it, it will open, and you open a blank workbook. If you want to open an existing workbook like the one I have now, you can go to where you save your file and open the existing workbook. So this is what we did last. This was what we did last week or on Sunday, on last week. We did some practice. We created a contact list with name, phone number, and address, which was the assignment you were given. So today, we look at some basic how to format in Excel. So if you check, we have some data here, but it doesn't make sense this way. If you check, we have some text hidden, right? Because the space is not enough. And you can see here, there are 2 columns here, but just 1 column that is showing. How do we solve that? There are 2 ways to solve that, right? You can do it by standing on a grid line and dragging forward. But that you have to do that 1 row or 1 column at a time. Alternatively, just stand there, double click 1, 2, and it will size that very column, taking the longest cell or the cell with the longest content to size the column. But you can do all of that. You can achieve all of that with a single click or double click, right? For you to do that, you highlight the entire columns that contains the data. Okay, then stand on any of the grid line and double click. You see, so it is, our data is visible. We can see what we are looking for, and we can see our data complete, right? If you check here, this is the title or the heading for this data, but it's hanging somewhere. We need to format it nicely to achieve what we need, or to make it readers friendly, eye friendly, right? So for us to do that, I will delete 1 column or 1 row here We have 3 rows here. Okay, see what I will do. I want to merge and center this. I will drag across the columns where my data is. I return to home. From home, we have merge and center here under alignment panel. So you click on the drop down, we have merge across, we have merge and center, merge cells. So let's see how they work. Merge cells, it will merge all the cells, but not centered. So we check here, this is now a single cell. The columns from A to G have been merged into one cell, and the row from 1 to 3 have been merged into one cell. So we now have one big cell. I undo to return back. If you check here, we have many cells open here, right? Another way to achieve that, okay, let's use another merge. This time we'll not merge cells, right? We'll merge across. We'll merge across, you see, each of the row have been merged into a single cell based on the selection. I selected from column A to column G, right? I will unmerge cells. Another way, the one I like using is merge and center. So I merge and center. You can see this merge and center. So it be merged and centered at the same time. I undo. Let me remove the row 2 here. I stand on the row heading, right click, and I click delete. So I have this now. With this, I can just merge this and I have what I want. The last time I selected merge and center. So there's no need for me to use the drop down again. What do? I can just click here. We have another merge that is also very, very useful and important, but it's not here. For us to see it, we need to expand the alignment panel through this launcher here. I click on the launcher. If you check here, you see under horizontal here, we have general, right? Okay, vertical, I think. Nope, horizontal. So you see merge across selection. If I click merge across selection, it will merge across the selection. But the cells, okay, not merge across selection, it's center across selection, yes. I say okay. So this is center across selection, but the cells were not merged, right? It just centered. The cells are not merged. If I enter data in any of these cells, this will return back to each cell. This is the cell that contains this data, cell A1, right? You can see the data here in the formula bar. So if I click here, you not see the data. If I click here, you not see the data. Even here, you not see the data. If I click on A1, you see the data. So that's center across selection. Let me enter something here and let's see what happened. You see, you can no longer see the data, right? Okay. I think I entered on A. Let me enter it somewhere here. Let me enter it here. Let me enter here. It returned back. Okay. So I like using merge and center. So let me use merge and center instead. Merge and center. Okay. I have it here. I can increase the font size. Good. What else can we do? I have these headings here, or the table headers, right? I can align it. I can change the alignment. I can rotate it. That's the orientation, change the orientation. So I can change orientation to something like this. You can see. I'll change my orientation. I can further change the orientation to say something like this. You see. But change it to what you know will be useful or readers friendly. I love this. I love this very one, or this very one. In school, when teachers or lecturers are preparing those are, I think it's the one they normally use, something like this. Okay, but I return it back to normal because I don't want that. I return it back to this. We can bold. We can change the text color or the field. This is the font color. Can change it to red, any color of my choice. Blue. I can also fill the cells. This is fill here, theme fill. So I can fill it to any color of my choice. Right. So these are the basic formattings we have. I can also shift this toward the right, the center, the middle. Whatever you want to do, you can do with it. So let me return it back. Okay, that's all for basic formattings. Let me use another formatting here. Let me undo to return back. I'll color this red, give it red color. If I want the rest here to carry red color, what do I do? I click on any of the cell that contains the red font. Click on Format Painter. This is called Format Painter. It copies the format of the cell and apply it here. I click and drag. You see everything I turn to red. Anyone I click on will turn to red. Okay, we'll change to red instead. Any question? The next thing we have is what? Operators. We have three basic operators, or let me say two basic operators. The ones that are basic, but we have others. The operators are grouped into basically the one we look, the ones that are common to us, 2 or 3. First one is arithmetic operators. We have comparison operator or logical operators. Where is it? Okay, it's here. Okay, sorry. Let me reduce the screen. So we have arithmetic operators. Are you trying to ask a question? I think no. So we have arithmetic operators. These perform basic mathematical calculations. They include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponent, percentage. Then we also have comparison operators or logical operators. These are used to compare two values and return true or false, depending on the result. They include equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, right? Less than or equal to, then not equal to. Another group of operators we have is the concatenation operator, right? This operator combines text strings into a single text. It can combine two strings into a single string. It can combine two characters into a single character. It can also combine numbers into a single number, but it will not add them up together. It will add them side by side. Another group of operators we have, which is not common, is reference operators. These are used to create references to ranges of cells. They include colon to create a range of cells, for example, A1 to A10. Remember that day we explored ranges. So we can have a range of A to something, and we can also have an array. And what gives us the range is the colon, right? To avoid us repeating or calling every cell by name, cell A1, A2, A3, A4 to A10. We can just say A1 colon A10. So everything under that range will be selected. All right, so we have comma. The comma separate two or more cells or range references, right? Create a union. We have space, create an intersection of two or more cell or ranges or references. Okay, or range references rather. So let's start with basic arithmetic operators that we have. Arithmetic operators. First one is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponential operator, sorry, and percentage. Okay, we head on to Excel. Let's use this data that we have to see what we can do. So the first one is addition operator. What does addition do? We have this data here. This data is this has to do with shipping. So someone or a company purchase these items here in column B. The items include Canon, which is a printer, Nokia, PS3, Compaq, Presano, Apple, iPod. So these are the items, or these were the items purchased by the company, right? So what do we have here? We have cost of each item, cost of Canon power shot. Okay, Canon power shot, I think it's not a printer, it's a camera. Then this is the cost of shipping one Canon, right? One Canon. So remember the cost of the item is 6,649. The cost of shipping is 600. What is the price of this item, of one item, right? The price is the cost of the item plus the shipping. That will give us the cost or the price of the item, right? Cost plus shipping. Then we have the quantity. How many Canon were purchased? 3 Canons were purchased, right? So let's perform some arithmetic, some calculation using arithmetic operations. The first one is addition operator. So addition, as we know, is plus. Another name for addition is plus. Another name for addition is sum. So let us use the operator and not the function, because in this case, sum act as a function, right? Sum is a function, not act as a function. But the operator is the plus, which is the sign. So for us to perform calculation in Excel, the first thing you need to know is that you must enter equal to. Once you enter equal to, you're activating or you're telling Excel that I want to perform calculation, right? So I enter equal to, I call the cell. This cell is C4, right? I either click on the C4 or I can type C4. C4. If I type C4, it will go and pick it. And I say plus D4. Plus D4. And I enter. So this is the price of one item of Canon. We have the quantity here. How do we get the total? How do we get the total? If I purchase 3 pens at the rate of 200 naira, what would be the cost of the 3 pens? Any attempts? I think we know it. I purchased 3 pens at the rate of 200 naira per pen. What is the cost of the 3 pens?
That is 600.
Oh no, you're close to the answer, but not correct.
Okay. You say 3 pen at the rate of 200 each.
Yes.
Are we going to add the shipping fee?
No, forget about the shipping. I'm talking about pen. Like you bought 3 pens at the rate of 200 naira per pen. What would be the total cost?
That would be 3 pen at the rate of 200. That would be 600 each. That is 600 for 3 now.
Exactly, that's 600. So how do we know? We multiply 200 by 3, right? So that's what we also do here. Yeah. So the operator we use is product operator. Product or multiplication. Another name for multiplication is product. But product here, we use it as a function, right? If I want to perform calculation, if I don't want to use time, let's say I want to use ranges. Where the ranges is very, very important in Excel is where we are trying to combine so many cells. I mean, yes, we want to combine so many cells. Instead of us using so many cells, calling them one by one, as we did here. Here is C4 plus C4 plus D4. So if I want to calculate from C4 to F4, I can just say equal to C4, right, colon, right, F4. But this is very funny because they will not know what I want to perform here, the kind of operation I want to perform. I am saying C4 colon F4. Excel will be confused. Is he trying to perform addition? Is he trying to perform multiplication? Is he trying to perform division? So I have to tell Excel that, okay, this is the kind of calculation I want to perform. And how do I achieve that? I'll tell it, okay, I'll call a function out. So the function in this case can be product function. Product. I have product function here. I click on product. You can now see that been highlighted. So if I perform like this, anything that Excel sees in those cells, it will multiply all of them. But does it make sense to say this time, this time, this time, this time, this? Does it make sense? I think no. So let us perform the calculation here. We'll not use the function, we use the operator. Equal to what are we multiplying by what? Colon E4 times F4 times F4 will give me the total, right? So I can repeat the calculation across all the cells. But don't you think that will be time consuming? I think yes, it will be time consuming. So to escape that, remember the other day, I say if we write Monday, they automatically know that after Monday is Tuesday. And what do I use to replicate that? I use the fill handle. This is the fill handle. This small dot at the bottom right is the fill handle. So click on it and drag down. Right. So what you are trying to do now is what? Copying the reference. So copying the reference of the cell. So now I will copy this cell reference. What is the reference of this cell? It's saying C4, D4. So if I stand here, what will it reference? It will reference C and D, right? But at position 5, which is row 5, right? Instead of C4, D4, I will have C5, D5 at this point. So I will copy the reference down. I have it calculated for me, right? In the same vein, I will do that for this. Instead of me having, I want to multiply all of them again. What do? I can use the fill handle and drag down. If I don't want to drag down, I can just double click here. It will copy it. 1, 2. You see, it copied it across anywhere. Let me say throughout the table, right? I delete this. Okay. Then this is subtotal. How do we calculate the subtotal? The subtotal is addition or summation of all these totals together to give us what? The subtotal. So how do we do that? In this case, if let's just use the operator, since we are dealing with operators, equal to G4 plus G5 plus G6. You see how it's wasting our time, Abi? Plus G7. Okay. Okay. I take it again. Equal to G4. What do you say? Plus G5.
I say, why not use sum equal to sum? Then
yes, I could use that. But since we are using the operator, let's see how operators will stress us so that when we get to functions and we use the ranges, cell ranges, we'll get to appreciate function and cell ranges. So see the stress it will take me to sum all this together. right? Let's say plus G6 plus G7 plus G8. And we have the answer here. Let me copy this to another place. I copy it, then I'll paste special. I paste only value. Okay, I have it here. So I will delete this. Let's see a very simple way to calculate it. What do I use? I use the function. The function is called sum function, equal to sum, open bracket, I call G4 colon G8. You see, the entire range have been highlighted. A range of what? G4 to G8. I enter. It's the same result, right? So it is very simple to use what? Let me say it's faster to use functions than using operators. But there are cases where we cannot use function. Example, when we are dealing with, let's say, division, we must use division operator. When we are dealing with exponent, we must use exponent operator. When we are using, let me say, minus subtraction, we must use the operator. Okay, now we use another operator here that is called the percentage operator to get the tax rate or percentage of task, right? So that operator is called what? Exponent. We have exponent as operator. We'll use the addition operator. We'll use multiplication. And now we want to use what? Exponent. So the exponent is power. Like we say something raised to, sorry, not exponent now. We want to use the percentage operator. So we say equal to, what are we looking for? We are looking for 4.5% of the subtotal. Equal to what? Subtotal, right? Times 4.5%. That's just it. And we'll get it here. This times 4.5%. Are we together? So that's how to calculate percentage of something, right? We that are Christians, if we want to calculate the percentage of our tithe, we say 10% of our income is our tithe. So if I want to get 10% of my 100K, how do I calculate it? It's 100K times 10%, and I will get how much? I'll get 10,000 naira or 10,000. Okay, grand total. How do we calculate the grand total now? The grand total is subtotal plus the tax rate, right? Or the tax will give us grand total equal to this plus the tax to give me my grand total. So this is my grand total. So what is the money left, right? A company or an individual has a total amount at hand of how much? 160,000. He went to the market or made an order of these items, right? After calculating the shipping cost, the cost of each item, got the total, paid for tax, the money left at hand should be calculated, right? And how do we get the money left at hand? So you subtract the money spent, right, from the money you went to the market with. So let's say the expenses minus the money you took to the market. So we have our expenses already that we made. And there's the total or grand total cost of the item we purchased. So we want to know how much is left over. How do we do that? Equal to, now we use subtraction operator, subtraction, equal to, this is the money we went to the market with, 160K, minus the grand total, to give us the cash at hand or money left, right? So it means we still have 400 and 50.3 naira, right? Is that true?
That is to balance them now. We are owing, sir,
Oh, yes, yes,
because
yes.
it's a minus.
Yeah, exactly. So we are owing. We'll go back and balance them later. Okay, so that's it. Which other operator have we not used here? We've used subtraction, multiplication, exponent. Okay, we left with exponent, right? This is not exponent, this is percentage. We left with exponent and division. So how can we use that? We can let me use this and this to divide here. It's the same thing. We just say equal to this divide by, we use division sign, which is this slash, divide by this, right? So that's how to use the division operator. So we use division, then exponents, something raised to power 3. If I have 2 raised to power 2, okay, let me say 3 raised to power 2. What would be the answer? And how do I raise it here? I cannot raise, right? Let's see. 3 raised to power 2. This is the power. So we want to say 3 raised to power 2 to give us result. So that's like saying 3 times 3, right? 3 times 3. How do we achieve that here? We say equal to, we call the cell. Don't forget, when we are performing calculation, you will not use the number, right? Or you will not use the value that is in the cell. You use the cell name, which it was cell reference. And how is that important? Let's see how it works. I say cell D10 raised to power, which is exponent E10, right? E10, I'll type it E10 or E10. Okay, I enter. It's 9, isn't it? So imagine that there is a new update that no, it's no longer 3 raised to power 2. It's now 3 raised to power 5. Once I change the 2 to 5 and I enter, the answer or the result will automatically change. So that's why it is very useful and helpful to use cell references or cell names instead of using the value of the cell. Do you understand? So the value was, we can still perform the same calculation saying equal to 3 raised to power 2. It will still give us answer, right? Equal to 3 raised to power 2 and it will give us 9. But what if there is a change? I don't want to use 3 again. I want to use something. I will still have to come back and perform the calculation again after changing the value. I'll still have to perform the calculation because it was not referencing anything. It was not referencing the cell. The calculation did not reference the cell. You can see it here. There's no cell here. All right. So that's that for arithmetic operators. That's all about arithmetic operators for now. What else? We have another operator called comparison operator, or we call it logical operator. What does it do? It checks if 2 numbers are the same, one is less than the other, or greater than the other, or not equal to the other, right? So for us to do that, let me use 3 numbers here. I have 10. I have 3. I have 10 again. I have 12. Okay? So let us use this to perform the comparison operators. The first one we have is equal to. But equal to can still act as assignment operator. It depends on the language. If it's in programming, and want to have variable. Yes, percentage is an operator, sir. Percentage is an operator, sir. Okay, so if I have a variable is like a placeholder or it's like a store where we store something. Let's say like a folder. If I have a variable, say my variable is Genesis. the variable is Genesis, okay, or let me use Jane, right? This is my variable, and I want to use equal to assign something to this, right? I say Genesis equal to, okay, let's say we say we have class of students. We say JSS1 equal to, for me to escape this equal to, once I enter equal to Excel, will automatically know I want to perform calculation. For me to escape it, I use apostrophe or any special character to escape it, right? Okay, saying it does not meet the syntax. What do I do? Let me start with the apostrophe. You see, it has entered. But if I don't use the apostrophe, they know how the equal to will stay. It will return error upon error. All right, sir. So I say JSS3 equal to Basi. This is like saying Basi belongs to JSS1. I mean JSS1 equal to Basi equal to Genesis. So it means both Genesis and Basi are in JSS2. It's like assigning Genesis and Basi to JSS1. Assigning Genesis and Basi to JSS1. So I can also have JSS2 and list Prof and Raphael, right? This is assignment operator. But here we use it as a comparison operator, right? So in those programming languages like Python, Power BI, when we are dealing with tax, if you want to use a comparison operator, you will not use equal to, like you use double equal to serve as a comparison operator. Even if you use a single equal to, it will be assignment operator, right? Is that understood?
Yeah.
Okay, so let us perform. Want to compare this with this if they are equal. I say equal to this. Is 10 equal to 10? It will return true if the answer is correct, and return false if it is not true, right? If it is correct, it will return true. If it is not correct, it will return false. Okay, so let me change it. This is J5, J7. So let me enter J8 instead and see if it will still be true. It's false, right? Where is the J8? This is J8. So it's saying 10 and 12 are not equal. So definitely it is false. We can still use greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So let's use greater than. Equal to 12 is greater than 10. Is it true? True. 12 is greater than 10. So if I change it to less than, the result will change. 12 is less than, 12 is less than 10 is false. 12 is not less than 10, right? So let us also use this one, J7, J5. J7, J5. Is J5, J7, sorry, J5. Is J5 less than J7? Definitely to be false. 10 is not less than 10. They are equal. So, but I can say less than or equal to, it will be what? True. Either way is true, right? Okay, less than or equal to, it is definitely true. It is not less than, but it's equal to, right? So, but if I remove the equal to, definitely it will be false. So let's use greater than or equal to and see. It will still be what? True, because they are equal. But if I remove the equal to and leave greater than, definitely it will be false. So let me use another one operator, which is what? Not less than, not equal to. which means is what? Is not equal to. This is what? Not equal to, right? Not equal to. It is false. I'm saying 10 and 10 are not equal. Definitely it is false because they are equal. So equal to is the opposite of not equal to, right? So that's comparison operator. If you know it, if you can think of anyone that we have not used, please let me know. I bet there is none. Let us also look at what operator? We've used comparison operator. Sorry, yes, comparison operators. We've used arithmetic operators. Let us also look at push operator again. Okay. Text, right? Or concatenation. This one, I like it, the concatenation. So let us concatenate two things here. Concatenation is the process of joining two things together, right? Or is joining two things together. It means joining two things together, not the process. Please, in case you drop a question in the chat box and I've not seen it, you can just unmute the mic and ask the question. Let me check if there's any question. Okay, equal to, I said it is a comparison operator, but not in Excel. In programming language like Python, JavaScript, in SQL, in Power BI, especially dealing with DAX functions, when writing DAX functions. So when I write double equal to, it means I'm comparing two terms. But if I write single equal to, it means I'm assigning something to read. Is that understood? Okay, concatenation is both operator. We have concatenation as operator, just the way we have multiplication. The multiplication, we have both, we have multiplication function. The multiplication function is called product, right? Product. The function here. The multiplication function or multiplication function is called product. Addition function is called what? Summation or sum, right? So we have operator called concatenation. Then we also have a function called concatenation. Concatenate is a function, right? But operator, the concatenation operator is this and sign. This, right? So if I want to concatenate two things, I want to concatenate addition and multiplication. What do? I say equal to this and this. It will add them together. I love it. You see, add more, right? So let me concatenate numbers and we'll see. This concatenation, like I said, is like addition, but it's bringing two things together. It's not adding them. It's just bringing them, line them side by side, right? So I want to concatenate.
There's a question in the chat box.
I didn't get.
There's a question in the chat box. Somebody say doesn't understand.
Okay, what don't you understand, sir?
Check the chat box. He dropped a message there.
Yeah, I've seen it. What don't you understand?
Jesus Christ is Lord. I don't really know what to even start. Is it that because I didn't get from the first foundation of Excel from the class one that is making me difficult to get the whole lot of today lesson, and I'm consistent today to make sure I get something, but it's not entering at all.
Please, it will enter. This is this small. It should enter. Okay, apart from him, is there anybody that not understand him? Let me know if it's a teaching problem or assimilation problem.
You said?
No, I want to know if there's any other person that's not understanding what we are teaching. If it
Okay.
is a personal problem or is a method of delivery, or let me say method of teaching, so I can change the method. Okay, who else is not understanding?
That means everybody understood, left only me.
No, it means everybody don't understand because they are keeping quiet.
No, I understand.
Okay. Raphael, I
Uh,
I don't know what to say. But okay, don't worry, I'll start again. Let me finish this
no,
concatenation.
this, okay.
I'll take this again. But you understood the formatting, right? It's the calculation that you don't understand.
Yes, I got the calculation till we get to that. Is it subtotal? Yes.
Okay,
After
leftover.
the subtotal, I begin to lose from that tax grand total. I got that grand total small, but I didn't get it
Oh,
because I lost from that tax.
no problem. This is where we are. Let's assume. But you understand the multiplication, percentage, subtraction, division, up to this one.
Uh, Starting from this tax, you know that we first calculate from this subtotal tax, grand total, money left over. Then before going to this addition, multiplication. So
Okay.
from this place, I was just following, let me say, just watching pictures to get how we get here
It's
was
okay.
my
It's
problem.
okay. It's okay. I understand. All right. Let's start again. Okay. The subtotal. Thank God you understood the subtotal. Subtotal, we use some function. You can see it here. Remember the ranges or range. We say we have the whole of this worksheet, right? Or sheet that you've seen. It is formed by what? Blocks of cells. Each of these things you see, they are called cells. Each of these block is a cell. And each cell has a unique name. No two cells have the same name. When we check the name of the cell, see it here in the name box, right? So if I click on any cell, it will show me the name of the cell here. This is saying this cell is what? I1. If I click down, I3, K3, this is J5, right? So I say when two cells or two or more cells come together, they form what is called a range. We have a horizontal range, which is row wise, right? This is horizontal range. If you can see, the whole range is under what? Row 3. Row 3 is highlighted, right? So we have a vertical range, which is this. It is column wise. If you check, the entire range is highlighted under column J, right? These are column headers. Remember, from A to XFT, from A to the last column, which is what? XFD. And how do you get to the last column? You press your Control Shift, the right arrow key, you get to the last column. XFD. There are over 16,000 columns, right? And for you to get to the last row, you do the same thing. Control Shift, the down arrow key. There are over 1 million columns, 1,48,576. You see it here. 1,48,576 rows. And each of these numbers you see here, they represent a row. These are row headers or row headings or row titles, right? Why these ones? Each of these numbers, characters here, alphabets here, they represent a column. These are column headers or column titles. then the intersection between a column, where a column, right? If I click on this, it will highlight it, and a row intersect. It forms what is called what? A cell. You can see there's intersection here. Row goes like this, column goes like this, row goes like this, then meet at a point. So this is a cell. Like I said, if we join two or more cells together, it gives us what is called a range. So let me return back home. So this is a range like this. This is a range already. And what is this range called? This range is range J4 to what? J8. You can see 4 to 8 is highlighted here. But instead of us typing, when we want to perform addition, instead of us saying this equal to G4 plus G5, remember that time, right? Plus G6 plus G7 and plus G8 or 8 rather. So this would give us the same answer as this. I enter. Is it not the same thing? It is. So, but this will waste our time a lot. Instead of us to do this, imagine that we have 1,000 entries. We have 1,000 rows. I've worked with the data, a set of data that was over 400,000 rows. I mean, no, not 400, 48,000 rows of data and 16 columns. So imagine that kind of data is a lot for you to start entering this plus this plus this. Instead, we use what is called a range. So in that 48,000 rows, what I will do minus the heading of the data, right? I could just say equal to summation bracket. Let's say the data is in G1, okay, G2, right? Rather, minus the header, colon G 48,000, right? 48,000. I bracket it. If I enter, it will sum everything that is in that range for me. So imagine me entering G2 plus G3 plus till I get to 48,000, my brother. It will take me how many days to solve that problem? Okay, so that's it. That's where a range comes in. Here we use a function. Let me say function and ranges help a lot. So, but like, as I said, we cannot just say equal to G4 column G8. Excel will ask you, what is he trying to do? Are you trying to perform addition? Are you trying to perform multiplication? Are you trying to perform whatever operator you can call or mention, right? So you need to use a function. A function is a predefined formula or pre-designed formulas, right? It is made up of formulas to solve a particular problem. There are predefined formulas developed to solve a particular problem. For instance, if I want to solve problems that have to do with addition, I don't need to go and add them again. I will just call a function for addition, which is called what? Sum function. And I stand here, I call the sum function. If I stand here, I say equal to summation, SUM. You see it here. Once it appears, you can double click here. It will open this bracket for you. And I enter the range that I want. Okay, before I enter the range, let me come to name box here and say G4. Inside name box here, I want to type. Let me click outside first. I want to type G4 colon G8. That is a range. I'm saying highlight from G4 to G8 for me. If I enter, it will highlight this place. G4 to G8. You can see this is highlighted G4 to G8. So I want to perform a calculation using range like this. So I say equal to sum, right? I open bracket G4 colon G8. That is the range. You see the range have been highlighted already, right? And I enter. It performs the addition function for me, which is summation. So to get the percentage of the task, No, we want to pay tax, right? Okay, let's say this is the money. Let me put it in comma separator. So let's say you earn 153,541 naira as your salary. How much will you pay for tithe? Are we together? And Raphael, you got lost from this point, I believe.
No, 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 no. I'm still active here. I'm still following.
Okay, yes. I say you got lost from this point, right? That was what you said. This percentage.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question for you. This is the money you earn per month, right? As your salary. Okay, you have to pay tithe of 10%. How will you calculate your tithe?
Mm.
Okay, to calculate your tithe, you know that tithe is 10%, right?
Yes.
Tithe is 10%. So now the country that you are buying the goods from is saying the tax you pay for buying the goods is 4.5% of the total money you use or the total things you buy. Let's say all these things that you bought sum together gives you the subtotal of 153,541. So the tax, you are paying tax from this money that you bought things from, not the money you took to the market. The total cost of the items you bought is what you are paying tax for. You are not paying tax for the money you use and enter the country, but you are paying tax for what you bought. So the total expense you made, whether the money reach or it did not reach, like we said before, you were owing somebody already because the money you spent was more than what you took there. Nothing concerned them with the money you took to the market. Their concern is what you purchase from the country. So you pay tax based on that, right? So how will you pay your tax now? Let's assume that you are paying 10% of this money. That's your tithe. Were you trying to ask a question? I think no. So to get your tithe, we already know that tithe is 10%. Let us calculate it like tithe. Equal to 10%. We can say 10% times this money here, or we can say the money times 10%. Either way, it will give you the same thing. So let us say 10%, and let's see how it works. Equal to 10%. Where's my percentage? 10%. But now, if you are saying 10% times this, it means you are using two operators. So it might still work, but to avoid the confusion, what do? You first bracket the 10%, right? You put this in bracket. 10% multiplied by what? Multiplied by this. You get. So you are paying 15,354.1 naira as your tithe. Let's assume that you are earning 150,000. Of course, the tithe you pay will be 15,000 naira, isn't it? So now we are not paying 10%. You are paying what? 4.5% of this money, which is your subtotal. The total money the total cost of the items you bought from that region, right? So we'll say equal to this particular money multiplied by 4.5%. 4.5%. It will give us 6,909.35 naira, isn't it? Do you understand at this point? Raphael, are you following?
Yes, I understand it now.
Okay. So to get the grand total,
I was trying to say,
you're trying to do what?
as I was trying to send a message before.
Okay, no problem. So to get the grand total Now, this one concerns you. This very one, you calculated it to pay the region or the country where you purchase the goods from. The grand total now concerns you. It doesn't concern them, right? What concerns them is this money, the subtotal. So the grand total is you knowing the expenses. Because if you buy all these items, you need to add the expenses you made, the tax plus the shipping cost to the cost of what? The item. Do you get? To the cost of the item. Because if I bought a phone 50,000 naira and I use 10,000 to transport the phone to, let's say, crossover state, then I pay tax of 1,000 naira. That's how much? 1,000 plus 10,000, 11,000 plus 50,000. That's 61,000. I will not go and sell that phone at 50,000 or sell it at 60,000. If I sell it at 60,000, I will think, oh, I made profit of 10,000, but no. Hell no, you need to add your transport, you need to add the tax to it. Then I can now sell it as okay. I need to sell this phone at 70,000 naira. Somebody will start asking, is it this phone that is bought 50,000 naira at Lagos State? You're not selling it for 70,000 naira. That is too expensive. But they've forgotten that when you bought the phone, you still transported the phone and you still pay for tax. So you calculate all those things and so that you know how much you sell this Canon. You not come and sell the Canon at 6,640 something, or you come and sell it at 7,249. If you sell it at this price, this is just the cost of shipping and the price you bought. Or even if you sell it at this price, you still lose. Even if you sell it at 20. Okay, this is the total. This is the cost of 3 Canons. This is the cost of 3 Canon. But if you sell the 3 Canon at 22,000 naira, you still run out low because you've not even added the tax to it. You first calculate the tax and share it across. You know everybody collect your own share. That's why when people import things from China and come to Nigeria, they'll become expensive here because they will calculate the cost of the tax they paid in China, the shipping cost, the clearance cost at the custom or the seaport. They will add all those things to the price of the item. You see that something that if you buy it from China, it will be like 1,000 naira. If you come here, you buy like 6,000 naira. Because after calculating all those things, they need to share the price to us that are buying from them. Okay, so now I want to get the grand total. How do I get the grand total? Grand total is the subtotal plus task, right? Subtotal, which is this, plus task to give me what? Plus tax to give me the grand total. So this is the grand total. Now I want to calculate the money left at hand. As we said before, I took 10,000 to the market. On coming back, how do I know the money left, right? I need to subtract the expenses from the money I took to the market. So this is the expenses, 160,450.35, right? 0.35. Okay. All right. So equal to this money minus the expenses or the cost, total cost here. So I am owing 450.35 naira. Understood?
This total amount available, where do we get it from?
No, this one is just like this one. It was generated, right? Let's say you cannot get it from anywhere. Yes. It's
Is
just
the total of each item?
this very one.
Is it the total of each item?
No. It's the money you took to the market.
Okay.
Yes, the money you took to the
So we
market.
use the money the money we took to the market to get the money left, or how?
Yes, the money left is the money you spent. You minus the money you spent from the money you took to the market. Let's say the money you took to the market minus the money you spent to get the leftover.
Okay, now I'm getting it gradually.
Yeah, I get that one. When you get it, it gives me joy, but when you don't get it, I can cry. All right. So,
Mhm.
so now you now understand addition, multiplication, percentage. Subtraction is the same thing. To subtract it, we have done subtraction already, which is this one, to get the money left. The next thing is division. So let me use any of these to divide, right? Before we use this to divide by this. So let's say, okay, let me use a number that we can easily see the result. Let's say 10 divided by, okay, 30 divided by 3. I have 30 here and I have 3 here. Remember I said we should not use the values to divide or to perform calculation. Instead, we should use the cell reference to perform calculation. Because if I use the value, I cannot even reference the cell, right? So instead of saying equal to 30 divided by 3, definitely it will give us answer, right? Divide by 3, it will give us answer, which is 10. But this cannot reference something else. Let me say I have this 30 divided by 3, and down here or somewhere else. Let me put it this way. You see, even when I delete it, the 10 is still there. I have 30 divided by 3 here, and I have 40 divided by 40, right? 40 divided by 5 and this. So if I stand here and perform calculation, saying equal to 30 divided by 3, this cannot reference the next cell. Remember, I said you can use fill and to copy across. If you reference, it will still give you 10, 10. It was supposed to reference this 40 divided by 5, right? But it is not referencing it because it didn't use, okay?
Sorry for interrupting.
But yes, right on.
Interrupting.
Yes.
Where do we get 30 from?
Okay, I say let me just assume that we have something like 30. Let us use numbers that we
Okay.
can easily see the result. It's not from this
Okay.
data set.
Okay.
Yes, I'm just using it to explain the division.
Okay. Okay.
So instead of that, I say equal to the reference, which is what? H13 divided by I13. And I have the answer to be 10. Then I can now reference this down. You see, here we have 8. 40 divided by 5 is definitely 8. So if I change this to 90, the answer will also change because it's referencing the cell. And if I change this to something 4, the answer will also change, right? The same thing with this division, right? Exponent. So to perform exponent, I can say exponent is something like 4 raised to power something, right? If I want to raise this to power 3, that means it's 4 times 4, which is what? 4 times 4 is 16. I'll be 16 times 4 again. You get 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. That's it. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4. That's the exponent. So for me to get that, I use exponent sign or operator, which is this, equal to 4 exponent 3. Remember, I say we are not using the value, we are referencing the cell. I enter, so that is it for this, right? Okay, that's exponent. Then the next operator we use, we've used comparison operator. I hope you got it to that point where we use comparison operators. Like is this is 10 equal to 10? So it's just like saying we want to compare 90 and 40. Are they the same? Comparison operator, which will return true or false. I say equal to 90 is equal to 40. Is it true? By merely looking, you know that 90 and 40 are not the same. So it is false, right? If it is not true, it is false. I want to also compare another thing. Let me say, is 90 greater than 40, right? 90, which is H13, is greater than 40, which is what? Age 14. Age 14, right? Is it true? It is true. 90 is greater than what? 40. So let me check. Is 90 less than 40? I use less than sign. It is false. 90 can never be less than 40. But 40 is less than 90, right? If I say less than or equal to, it will still not give me answer. So let me use less than or equal to. It is still false. But if I change this to 40, it is definitely going to be what? True. Because 40 and 40 are the same, right? So we can use greater than or equal to, less than or equal to compare, or we use what? Not equal to. So 40 and 40, it was true that they were equal to, right? But now we use not equal to, which is this, and enter. It is false because 40 and 40 are the same. But we are now saying 40 and 40 are not the same. That's why it's telling us false. I mean, yes, we are saying they are not the same, but they are the same. So we are saying they are not the same. It is false because what is on ground, it is the same. But we are saying they are not equal to here. So definitely it's gonna be false. So don't think it's only calculation, it's only number that we can use comparison operators for or with. Let us use strings or alphabet or text, right? Gene, something like gene, and I have something like gen. Okay, yes. So let's compare this. This and this, are they equal to? Equal to this is equal to this. Definitely not the same, false. But let me change this to something gene. Are they the same? Yes. Whether or not it is small letter, they are the same. It's checking the letters that are there if they are the same, right? So that is that for comparison operators. Then I say we can use this operator that I say, okay, if we have double equal to is what? Is a comparison operator in programming languages, while the single equal to act as what? Assignment operator. Then we went further to explore concatenation operators. And the concatenation is used to join two things together, right? It is not adding them, it will only join them together. Like say Raphael and Prof. So Raphael and Prof will lie side by side. That was concatenation. So for me to concatenate things, we concatenate text or strings, right? I say equal to the concatenation operator is an symbol, right? Or yeah, equal to I8 and what? I10 and I enter. So you can now see that we have sub JSS1 line side by side. So let us concatenate numbers. We have 5 and 1. Okay, 4 and 3. So let us concatenate them. To you, when you see it, you may see that word number, but it's not a number, right? Equal to this, which is what? 3 and this 4. You can see we now have what? 34. But if you add 3 and 4, it will give you 7, right? But concatenation will not add them together. It will only lie them side by side. It will join the two numbers, right? So let us check if this is a number. I use a function called number. The function called number, it will check whether something is a number or not. And it will ask, is this a number? If it is a number, it will return the number. If it is not a number, it will return what? 0. Do you understand? We use this n to check. It's a function to check if something is a number or not. If it is a number, it will return it. So let me check something else, like this very number here. I say equal to, but let me check it here though. Equal to this, equal to n. Then I call this, right? Oops, error. Equal to n bracket G4. I close bracket and I enter. G4 is a word, is a number. It returns it. But if I want to check if this is a text, what do? I use T. If I use T, it will return nothing because it's not a text. You see, it is not a text. But if I want to check whether this one is a text or not, you see that it will return it, right? So let me check here. Equal to T for text. We want to check whether something is a text or not. We check this. If it is a text, it returns it. Remember, this was gotten from what? Concatenating these two numbers, right? So we say it will not sum them, it will only what? Join the numbers, right? So we check here, if it is a number, it says no, it is not a number. Then we check here, if it is a text, it says yes, this is a text. Because concatenation is a string or text word operator. Do you understand? Are we following?
Yes, sir. Hello, I'm my coach.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, do you mean compare logical operator?
Exactly, sir. They are logical operators.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's a logical operator. Okay. Raphael, are you following? Yes, you said yes. Okay.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So I think that's the end of operators. Let's check. Okay, reference operators, colon. As we said before, we've used colon a lot. We can also use comma. We can also use this space, but I don't think. Let's just explore them, sha. I want to concatenate these two numbers, right? 3 and 4 again, using concatenation. Then I should use concatenation with what? Okay, we have used the colon operator to put a range, to set a range here. You can see it here. So there's no need of using the colon again because we have colon here. Colon is used to specify a range of data, a range of cells, a range of values. So we use what? Colon to specify the range. So this range is a range of G4 to G8. It means how many cells are inside. G is 1, G4 is 1, G5 is 2, G6 is 3, G7 is what? Is 4, G8 is 5. So there are 5 cells that are included in this range. You can see it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's the range. Okay. So the second one is saying comma what operator. So the comma, we can say instead of us saying this product of this or sum of this, we have sum of this and this to give us this, right? Which we use what? Equal to C4 plus D4. So we could also use the sum function and say equal to summation this, right? Comma, and this, instead of using plus or the colon, we can use comma. It will still work for us. And I close the bracket, enter. Is it not the same thing? It's the same thing here. So in the same manner, we can also do that here using comma, but it will not help a lot if we are dealing with large volume of data. Okay. Then the space operator, which is what we use this colon, not colon, I mean apostrophe or quotation. We call them quotations, right? This is double quote. We have single quote, which is this, right? So we use it to space, to create a space between strings or numbers. So basically strings. So if I want to say Genesis Amaha, and I'm concatenating Genesis from another column and Amaha from another column. Column. I have column Genesis and I have what? Amaha here. Then I want to put the two names together to say Genesis Amaha using concatenation. So equal to this, which is C12 and D12. I enter. We now have Genesis Amaha, but it is joined together, right? I want to space it. How do I space it now? I need to bring another operator called the space operator. I use double quote to create that space. Sorry, double quote to create the space, and I give a space in the middle. Enter double quote again, right? And I put what? And let's see if this will work. It will not work. It will return an error. Why? We are trying to concatenate three things here. What are we concatenating? We are concatenating J, MC12, and space. We are adding a space to it. That space is also, we are also concatenating the space. Then we concatenate it with what? D12. So I still need to add another AND operator here. But let me remove it first and see if it will work. You see, it will return error, right? We need to fix the error by adding another concatenation here. And I enter. You can now see we have Genesis and Maha with a space. Is that understood?
Yeah.
Is everyone following? Or is only Prof?
Yes, yes.
We are there.
Raphael, are you understanding it?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
All right. We proceed. We have functions. I love functions so well. I love functions. So we have functions. Okay. I defined functions somehow the other time, but let's define it again. Functions are predefined formulas, right? Designed to perform a particular task or solve a particular task. Just a minute, please. Okay, I'm back. We said we have aggregators function and we still have other functions. Let's see what they are, right? I was trying to define functions for you, that functions are predefined formulas that are developed or designed to solve a particular problem for us. So each function is targeted at solving a specific problem, meaning if you have a problem and you don't use the right function, you cannot solve that problem. Okay, you didn't get the concatenation, right? Okay, someone is saying he did not understand the concatenation. So this is how it works. See the function here. I mean the operator is not a function, but concatenation is also a function. I use concatenation operator here. Let me use concatenation function to get the same thing. I equal to concatenate, concatenate. You can see it here. Double click on it, it will open. What do I want to concatenate? I want to concatenate this and this. You see where comma comes in now, comma operator, and this. I concatenate these two things, and I have what? Genesis and Maha, but it is joined together, right? Like conjoined twins. So I want to separate it. How do I separate it? I need to bring in another operator called the space operator, comma. I use double quote to create a space. And I put comma again, I enter. You see, the space is not created because I did not put space between the double quote. So the double quote, I must put a space or add a space here. And here I have what? Genesis and Maha. You get? Then if I decide to use this one, this is the function. Let me delete it and go take it again. Equal to C12 and I use and sign and what? D12. D12. I have what? Genesis and Maha. But I'm saying I need to create a space between Genesis and Maha. How do I create that space? I use the space operator, which is double quote, and I space. I enter another double quote to close the space, right? Then, if I leave it like this, it will not work because I'm concatenating three things here. I'm concatenating C12, space, and D12. So I need to add another word, and, or another concatenation, or and, any I want to call it. Then I enter. We now have space. I believe it's understandable now. If you don't, please call my attention. So we have basic aggregator functions. What aggregator functions? Let me highlight these numbers here. But before that, let me quickly format this with currency, and we'll see. Let me quickly format this with currency. You know, we are dealing with Naira, so we need to add the Naira sign. So I can highlight this. If I don't want this, if I don't want it to appear as float are decimal point numbers, you can see that there's a decimal here. And after the decimal, we have 3 and 5. So if I want it to be 1 decimal, I can round it up to 1 decimal place. How do I do it? I can round it up here, right? Increase decimal or reduce decimal. You can see I decrease the decimal to 0 decimal place. I can increase the decimal, so I can have up to 3 decimals. You can see. Increase it here. And I can also add a comma separator, that 1000 separator. I put comma style, it will give me 1000 separator, right? If I want to 0 the decimal, I can reduce it. This 1 decimal place, 0 decimal place. You get? There's another function I can use a function called round to even round this up. So I have this. If I use round down, a function called round down, I can start here and use a function called round. Round this, right? Comma. How many digits do you want? Number digit. I need 0. I need to be round to 0 decimal place, and I enter. Right? Why is this one showing me hash hash? Who can tell me?
The number is too much to be accommodated on that.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. The numbers are too much. The digits, the values are more than what? Are more than the cell. Are bigger than the cell. So I double click to get the space here. So you can see I rounded it up to what? 0 decimal place. Before we're having what? 0.35 here. But here you can see 0.00. That's because I rounded it up to 0 decimal place. You get? It's picking these zeros here because the zeros are already here. I put it toward I put 0. You can see it rounded up towards 0 decimal place. I can do same here. So now I want to format this with currency. I want to format this with currency. We have currency and we have the currency symbols, right? We have the currency, should I say the symbol, and also the abbreviation, currency abbreviation. What is the currency abbreviation for Naira? Is NGN. Sorry, is NGN, right? The currency abbreviation for dollar is what? Dollar is USD is United States dollar. USD. This United States dollar. Canadian dollar will have CAD, right? Isn't it? Then Australian dollar will have UAD. This Australian dollar. Every dollar, they have their each country that uses dollar, they have their own dollar abbreviation, right? USD, CAD, UAD, and co. But now I want to format this with currency. You don't type it. When you want to format something with currency, let's say this is 160,000. I'll come and type NGN. Remember, again, let me remind us, we said it last time, that numbers are aligned to the right. You can see them here. Numbers are always aligned to the right, but text is always aligned to the left. You can see NGN is running to the left side. Apple, all these ones, they are running to the left side. But numbers will always be aligned toward the right side of the cell.
To the left side of the cell.
No, numbers to the right. Text.
I mean text.
Okay, yes, text to the left. Exactly, sir. So now, NGN. I'll come and type NGN 160,000. This is not a number. To you, this is Naira, and this is 160,000 Naira. But a Z does not know it as what? As a number. It sees it as a text. So if I want to check if this is a number or a text, But before then, let me write another 160,000 here, and let's see something. 160,000. Once it's done, you see this one is moving to the right, right? But let me format it with currency. I come here, number format. This is number panel under home tab. I come to this number, use the launcher to see more things. I come to currency. From currency, I want to check for NGN. So I come to where I have this symbol and type what? NGN. I have NGN here. I click on it and I click on OK. I click on OK. Can you see the NGN here? But it's still aligned to the right, meaning this one is what? It's a number. But if I like, let me align this by myself to the right. You see, I've aligned it to the right, but this does not make it what? A currency. It is still a text. So let me check if it is a text equal to, is it a number? Remember, N to check if something is a number or it's not a number. Bam, it returns it as a number, right? If I come here, it returns 0 because it is not a number. So if I want to also check if it's a text, I just replace the N with T, right? And I enter. It is showing 0 because this is not a number, it's a text. But if I come here, it shows me that it's a text because it returned a text for me. Can you see? So this is a text and not a number, right? So let me format it. If you want to format, you must format it with what? Go and format it, don't type it. So I come here, I want to format this with Naira. As Naira, I click here, I have Naira here already, and I say okay. Okay. So I have this formatted as Naira. If I want to format it as dollar, I'll look for dollar symbol. Let me highlight this and format this too. I come back, number panel, currency. If I want to format it as dollar, you can see dollar here, Australian dollar, Belgians, and cool. But I want to format it as Naira. It's Naira I use. And I say okay. So I have it this way. So that's that. Quickly, we look at some functions. Like I said, aggregators. If I highlight this together, you see we have a quick analysis here. Can you see my status bar? This place is called the status bar, where it is showing ready, accessibility, investigate, right? You see average. Okay, let me come here. I highlight only this column, right? The average amount, the average shipping price is what? 810. That's the average. What is average? Average is summation of all the number divided by the total number of occurrence. I'm confusing you, right? We have this. We sum this together. What is the number of occurrence? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 cells here. So we divide the summation of all this by 5 to get what? To get the average. So he's saying, what is the average price, average shipping price? So when you add all of them together, it will give you average shipping price. So when you want to go to the market, you say, okay, on average, I will spend 810 Naira per shipping. But you know that you can spend less than that on an item. You can spend higher than that on an item. But on average, you spend 810. So that even if you spend above or below, it will not go far from the number, the projected number, right? That's on average. Then count. Count will tell you, okay, how many of them, right? How many cells are there? It count. The count is 5. Numerical count is 5. Count both number and text. Why numerical count only text, right? The minimum amount here is how much? 350 Naira. You can see it here. 350 Naira is the minimum amount. Maximum amount is how much? 1,500. Then sum of all the money is how much? 4,050, right? So if you want to get the average, you divide the total sum by the count to get this average. So we have 4,050, right? Divide by 5. Let's do it here. Equal to 4,050 divided by 5. You see, it's 810, isn't it? So you see the same thing. You see this 810 as average. Okay, so this what you see here are the aggregator functions. It will show you the average, the count, the numerical count, the minimum, the maximum, and the sum. What does it help us to do? This is, I don't know if you are familiar with standard deviation. I think Prof is familiar with standard deviation. Standard deviation tells us how far numbers are spread from the average. It is talking about the spread, right? So when we see something, we say, okay, what is the average? We start saying the average is 810. Okay, 810. What is the minimum? The minimum is 35. What is the maximum? The maximum is 1,500, right? So, but to get the spread, complete spread and standard deviation, you know that we'll still need to add the interquartile range, the first quartile range, and the third quartile range, right? So we get the minimum, the first quartile range, the average, the third quartile range, and the maximum. You get. So if I want to know how far these numbers are spread, I will have to check for equal to quartile. We have quartile here, right? Quartile. And I enter all this to get the word, the first quartile, right? Comma, array, and the first, I say first quartile, which is 1, first quartile. It will give me the first quartile range, which is 450, right? That's like the minimum. So, but what I need is the second quartile because I have the minimum already. I use the second quartile, which is 600. So if I have the minimum to be 450, second quartile 600, and average 810, I can get the third quartile from there. I copy this and paste it here. Sorry, and paste it here. No, once you copy once in Excel, that's the beauty of it. So instead of this, I change it to what? Third quartile. Third quartile. So third quartile is 1,200 and something. Then the maximum here is what? Equal to get the maximum. Say equal to maximum, max, open bracket. I highlight this together to give me my maximum. And I enter. My maximum is 15, remember. So with this, we can know the spread of the data, sir. We can know the spread of the data from here. How far the data is spread from the word, from the average. This is the average. The difference between average and the second quartile is less than 200. And the difference between the first quartile to the minimum is less than, the second quartile to the minimum is also less than 200. So that's the spread of it. The difference between 800 to 1,200 is slightly above 200. And the difference between the third quartile to the maximum is around 200. So that's the spread of the data. We can just see the spread, the difference is just to 200. Do you understand? So we can use it to know the spread of data. So maximum, to get the maximum, we say equal to max, maximum. Then we highlight the range of data that it should look for maximum for us. So it will check this range for us. Range of what? D4, D8, and return the maximum number there for us. You can see this is the maximum number, right? Then if we want to look for,
hello, it's like your network.
Sorry, we lost connection. Sorry, we lost connection. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but before we were not hearing you before.
Okay, sorry about that. I said this is maximum. We want to look for maximum of a range, right? Maximum. So the function for maximum is max. I say equal to max. I open bracket. I want to look for maximum number here. I close my bracket. This is the maximum amount here, which is 31,000, right? I want to look for the minimum amount. The function is min. I say equal to min bracket this E4 to E8. I close my bracket. It will look for the minimum amount for me, which is 6,450. So I can also look for average. What is the average amount for me? Average, I mean AVG. What is the average? I say equal to average. See average here, I click on it. What? E4 colon E8. E8 to give me the average. To give me the average. This is the average, right? What else can we look that is can we look for that is an aggregator? We look for the maximum, the minimum, average. We also look for what? Count. All right. Any question? In the absence of no question, we call it a day. If you have a question, please ask. Silence means no question. All right, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for staying to the end of the class. I really appreciate your patience. If you don't understand anything at the course of your practice, feel free to DM me or drop the message in the group chat. Then I'll respond. I'll answer you immediately. You can call me 10 a.m. You can call me 5 a.m., 4 a.m. I will answer you. Good night and have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you very much. Bye.